Welcome, everybody, to Quarter Impulse, our Star Trek companion show to our main show, Warp Factor Fiction. If you haven't checked it out, it's our Patreon exclusive series where we are going chronological order on everything Star Trek on screen. We're watching season by season every month. So last month we had Enterprise Season 1. This month we're going to have Enterprise Season 2. And then we will go on and so on and so forth. That is Warp Factor Fiction. But this is Quarter Impulse. Quarter Impulse is our short show, our companion piece to it, where we really delve into the things that we like to talk about on Star Trek. And today is First Contact Day. Happy First
Contact Day. Happy First Contact Day, my friend.
Commander Casey.
That's me. I would like to be Commodore, please. I think Commodore is a much better job overall, because if I could do anything I want to be, if I were part of Starfleet, I would 100% become one of the historians or teachers, professors at the academy. That's what That would be amazing. Absolutely.
You wouldn't travel?
100%. I mean, I would probably take some tours. I wouldn't not go into space, because you can go to space. And Commodore, it takes a while to get there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm going to stay for long.
But what route would you take to get to Commodore?
Well, I'd probably try to be like an archaeologist who travels, or some sort of exobiologist, and just travel around for a bit, take a couple cruises, be a blue shirt.
Okay, well, I have you in the blue shirt today, so that's pretty good.
It fits, yeah.
You know me, I love my
command. A lot of scanning. Well, you're all command, bro.
I love, you know what it is? I think, and that's what I would probably go for. I'm not saying I'd be a captain. But I think I could be in command. I think I would enjoy that aspect of it. I'm not an employee.
No,
I'm not a very good one anyway.
Don't know how to be employee.
And there's one thing I've learned in all my years of watching Star Trek is you don't need to be a good employee to end up being a legend.
You really don't.
No, not at all. But it is First Contact Day, so let's make some contact. We have Dale Andrews. What's up, Dale?
What's up, Dale? Good to see you,
He was actually first on First Contact.
Yes,
so.
First on First Contact Day. He's our Vulcan.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Dale. And Radar's here.
What's up, Radar? Good to see you, buddy.
Second, so would we call him Denobulan?
No, he'd be more like, actually, maybe we're Denobulan second?
I don't know who was second, but...
I don't either.
They were earlier than the Andorians.
They were, yeah, Andorians and Tellarites.
Actually, that is a great question, though, and I want to talk to you about this a little bit, because we're going to get into the aspects of First Contact Day, what it is, the event itself, the movie, and a little bit more kind of about the history of it. And I do want to mention one thing for everybody watching, especially if you are fans of like Picard and things that are going on now. Frontier Day. Final Frontier Day is different, of course. It is when Starfleet finally launched. It is not First Contact Day. That's what we need to keep in mind in this. So, but I want to ask you, why weren't the Denobulans, of course, Phlox was one of them in Enterprise. Why weren't they a part of the Federation? Do you know?
What, the Denobulans at the time were part of the Federation, because the Federation didn't exist yet. So the fun
part, I meant
when
they finally made it exist, they weren't one of the founding four.
Oh, they were not one of the founding four. No, they might not have decided to join. They remained neutral, like Switzerland. So a lot of planets do that, where they are open to trade and commerce and traveling species and exchanging stuff, but they just don't want to be tied down to any contracts. They get a little cold feet action. They're a little scared to commit. I get it.
I wonder if it also came down to a lot of different species looking at it and saying, let's see how this does for a few years first.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No one wanted to jump in with that bunch. It sounded like a bad idea, especially with the Klingons, always threatening at that time. And the Romulans were still mystery foe out there. So,
and no wonder the Federation was a human construct, because clearly they're saying, listen, we have a finite amount of time on this world, in this universe, in this galaxy, whatever you want to call it. And you guys are around for a long time, so you can hold out, but we're going to be in the Federation right away. In fact, we're going to create it. Let's do this.
Yeah, we don't have time like everyone else. We got to get it moving. Yeah. We got to get cracking.
Well, all right. Let's get into First Contact a little bit. Let's, Casey, you are the historian here. You're the Commodore. This is what we're talking about. In fact, I could see you being what Geordi is now.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the museum.
Oh, that would be heaven, man. That would be phenomenal. I mean, he did it through the engineering route, which probably is more logical, and allowed him to pretty much pick wherever he wanted to go. I think, yeah, pick of the litter. And talk about a safe space, too. You're surrounded by ships that are still could power up and be used at any time. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you're holding on to those old relics that are just legends within themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And as much as I would want to be on Earth, San Francisco gets blown up a lot. So I don't know how much I want to be there. And England got blown up real bad. So I don't know. I luckily it's one world concept, so we could go anywhere. I could be in Australia. Yeah. Ooh, Australia. Nothing bad happens there.
I don't know. Where was the Starfleet Academy that just blew up in Picard?
Oh, that one was London, I'm pretty sure.
Was that London? Because
yeah,
man, London does not catch a break, just like in Into Darkness.
Into Darkness blew it up. Constantly gets blowed up.
All right, so let's get into First Contact. What year was First Contact?
So, my friend, the year was shockingly 2063. Ooh. So, April 5th, this day, 40 years from now, is the theoretical First Contact Day. And this magical day is the day when the Vulcan science ship, the Toplana Hoth, landed after seeing Zefram Cochrane's The Phoenix take its first flight. It was out just kind of scouting about, looking for some wormhole activity out by Jupiter. And kabloom, they see this ship randomly go by, and they're like, hey, who are those folk? So they landed. And it was very exciting. The first Vulcan, the commander of that mission, was Solkar. And Commander Solkar also is the great-grandfather of Spock himself, which is pretty awesome.
Very nice.
So, well, the great-great-grandfather. Sorry, that's two greats. Yeah.
Well, they were pretty great. That is true.
They were very great. Super great. So pretty fascinating stuff there. Yeah, that's how it went down. And we've seen this take place in a couple different forms, most notably, obviously, in First Contact, the movie itself, where we see this exchange happening in Bozeman, Montana, where the Vulcan ship lands and meets Zefram Cochrane, the pilot himself, and opens a discussion which leads to, the growth of Starfleet and the creation of the Federation.
Yeah. And it really, of course, took some time. You can go back and watch the shows. Like we said, we're watching Enterprise right now, which is the very early days of Starfleet. So
one ship. Back in the days of one ship.
One ship, and it's just out there. And it is a pioneer type of show for sure.
Oh, yeah. Now, it's a wagon train of the stars, indeed.
Well, they talk about it quite a bit too, and with our rewatch of Enterprise going on right now, they don't so much talk about First Contact. They talk a lot of people that were at First Contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and part of the First Contact, I should say,
they're only like a generation away. Like his dad was working with Zefram Cochrane. The Captain Archer's father. He was there in the lab with this guy Zefram Cochrane. He was a kid. He had no idea who he was, but that's pretty wild.
Yeah. And, going on and finding where we are now versus what we saw in the movie First Contact, which we're going to get into in just a few minutes, and where we are now, it has changed so insanely. Like, I mean, for the fact that a warp drive, that warp one, just that one little bit of push could lead us to everything we've got in this universe that is humongous.
It's phenomenal. And that's all it takes, though. Now the lead up to April 5th, 2063 is a little bit more ominous. So there are three major events that have to start. First of all, the Second American Civil War is the first fire start.
We're almost there.
Then leads to World War III.
We're almost there.
Which then leads to the remaining nations using the eugenics war.
Almost there.
Which pretty much is on the heels of World War III. So we're pretty much right there. People are already doing weird stuff with I mean, it's weird right now reading what's going on in technology, and it's
I
like,
know.
oh, I guess it's all happening. I guess this is happening.
30 in this show, it was like 30 million people died in the
Mhm.
eugenics wars.
Yep.
That is insanity. And
that's
like,
that's after almost a billion in World War III. So like the numbers are huge. So there's only like factions remaining that are all against each other and trying to. I always think of actually the world that Zefram Cochrane grew up was like the postman. Like he happened to be in one of the spots that had some more technology versus other spots that maybe didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they found themselves in a good place with the silo
Mm-hmm.
out in Bozeman. So, I mean, that worked out well. And honestly, I completely understand where they came from. You had to have that big, like, push of all the wars, like, right back to back, all that loss. Because I don't think you could handle a world at 7 billion people in population starting to space travel.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot. And to try and start a utopia. So, I mean, it makes sense in Gene Roddenberry to have that foresight.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
really
you've got to Thanos it.
Yeah, he really did. Is Gene Roddenberry the original Thanos?
He was, man. That's how we got here. Don't worry about how we got here, folks. But remember, the Federation. Just after we blow each other up, let's remember we can still love each other.
That's true. Well, Radar says, and to answer this question, what wasn't it retconned to be the Borg eventually?
Well, the Borg are in First Contact. The Borg are in First Contact. Yeah. And then I think that I feel like I know what you're talking about. I feel like that was done as a simulation or something weird. Mm-hmm. And it was in Picard season 2 kind of stuff.
I know.
So yeah, they did weird stuff. I don't know. I'm not counting it as retconned. April 5th, 2063 will live on forever from the movie. It is canon.
And considering we're not normally live with these shows, I will say, what's up, Jason? How you doing, buddy?
What up, Jason? Great to see you, buddy.
So let's talk about First Contact, the movie. Okay, so that's where we finally get to see exactly what went down with Zefram Cochrane and the first warp drive flight. So, of course, directed by the great Jonathan Frakes. Go check out our interview now. It's up on our YouTube.
Zefram Cochrane, played by the wonderful James Cromwell.
Yes, fantastic job is that. And at the time, only really known for the Babe movies, the Pig movies.
Yeah, I feel like he had done stuff beforehand. He was, I recognized him from quite a few things.
Oh yeah, he was in a lot. Career,
yeah, but you're right. He wasn't a huge role in things that I remember from those days.
Now, let me ask you this about the First Contact. So we know the Vulcans were our first contact. Do you think any other species could have been the first contact within the Star Trek world, and it still worked? Or what would you like to have seen?
Well, it would have worked. It just would have worked different. I mean, that's the thing about humans. One of the greatest things about us is our adaptability to freaking everything. We will find a way to live in the worst and most harsh environments. It's what we are. We're maniacs. So due to our incredible adaptability, I'm pretty sure anyone that would have found us, we would have just geared ourselves towards them. Like the Terran Empire puts it perfectly. The Klingons were the first ones to show up. So guess what? You're a warlike culture. That's what you're going to grow up as. Even the Romulans showing up first, it's very similar to that warlike culture. Mm-hmm. So, and probably the Romulans would have been a little less gnarly to us. Klingons might have just enslaved us. You know, I'm not sure how that would have worked out.
A decimated Earth, might as well take it over, right?
Right. I mean, at that point, but we're a pretty poisoned planet. Oh, well, no, by the time Bozeman comes around in 2063, somehow the half-life of all that nuclear radiation just went right away. We're fine. Don't worry about it.
It's all gone.
It's no worries.
Jason does put that he did play Mr. Skolnick on Star Trek. You're absolutely right.
That's right.
He wasn't a star at that point. That's what I was saying. Like, he was really only known for his most famous thing at the time were the Babe movies.
Yeah.
And then after that, he really kind of took off.
Well, I mean, he's got a line that will live on forever.
Would you like to say that line?
Which one?
I don't know. You tell me.
The one.
Oh, is the Babe one?
The Babe one.
That'll do.
Remind me of
That'll do. Trying to set you up for it.
Well, that's why I like it. It was a nice little volleyball thing we were doing back and forth. Just set in practice.
So, of course, guys, First Contact, the movie, directed by Jonathan Frakes, as we said, the Next Gen crew travels back in time to follow the Borg back there, who have plans to stop that warp drive. So there is no First Contact, and Starfleet never, Federation, nothing comes about. They feel that's the only way they can stop the humans from moving forward.
And it's brilliant because you go back to that
Yeah.
point, you blow up a ship with your superior technology, and then you go all Borg on them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're gonna try to shoot you, but you're Borg. Like, they've got no shot. They got no chance. I love when they show that as they're traveling back in time in that part of the movie, and you can see out the window, of course, you can see the planet changing. So like it's a Borg Earth. It's wild. I love that part.
Well, how did you feel about Geordi and Riker traveling in the first warp flight?
I mean, it was pretty messed up. Like,
Right?
I feel like you talk about altering history. Of course, people are going to remember you. Like, what are
Right?
you going to do? Hey, don't put our name down. Do. Like, we're out.
Don't tell anybody we're from the future. We're gone. And how did Picard not get mad at that?
Right? Like, of all the non-interference moments, that's the time you're like, nah, out the window. Let's go for a ride.
Yeah, while we're fighting the Borg up here, you jerk.
Right? What in the world, man? That was such a terrible move. The reprimands all around.
It really is. Like, what are you doing here, guys? Come on. We
Yeah,
told
like,
you to go down and make sure it happens.
Yeah, not to be in the cockpit as it's taking off. The first time I saw it, there was literally a part of the historian in me that I was like, you've ruined everything. Like, there's a whole new schism in the timeline now.
Yeah.
Riker is officially the coolest person on Earth in the universe. That's it. In this new time, like, he's ridden in Zephram Cochrane's ship and then gone back to his time. Like, what in the world?
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Final Contact a little bit. Hey, what'd you think about the movie? I mean, because we're going to get more in depth with the movie once we get there with Warp Factor Fiction. But just initial, because it is actually, we'll probably celebrate 2 live shows of First Contact Day before we get to that movie.
I mean, that's plausible. There's a real chance of that.
So, because again, and guys, if you're just tuning in or you don't know about it, over on our Patreon, we have a show called Warp Factor Fiction, where we are rewatching everything in chronological order, all on screen Trek. That counts the animated series all over the place. Everything gets counted in this. We're going to count the shorts, all of that stuff that they make.
Everything.
And we will keep going because we know they're making more shows. So if we can add it within chronological order while we're going, we will. Otherwise, it will be saved until after.
Yeah, we'll be called the Asterisk Show.
Exactly. So if you guys want to check that out, we do have Patreon, links down below. You can check them out in the description. And we got a ton of perks, but we appreciate any support that you give us because it helps us keep the lights on and keep us doing this. So thank you. Now we kind of close out because we're coming towards the end of the show. This is supposed to be a smaller show.
Yeah, not our usual format.
Yeah. And we are not, of course, as you can see, in our new studio yet.
Not yet.
We're working on it, and it's getting there, and it's coming, and it's going to be so much fun. So wait for that one. You will see it over on More Quarter Impulses and, of course, Warp Factor Fiction. So, all right. With it being First Contact Day, talk to me a little bit. This is like your lifeblood.
I mean, it's in there, bro. It's in there deep. It's part of the platelets.
I love it, but I'm not on the level you're on. Do you have any facts about First Contact that you can share with us?
About the movie itself, no.
Anything, yeah. The movie created this day, so
it did in a way. It just that it happened in Bozeman, Montana, the first occurrence between humans and Vulcans, 2063. This is the day. The fear part is, obviously the way we get there. Let's hopefully get there a better way. Let's find a way to just jump to science now. How about that as a message? Let's jump to science now. Let's get in front of this and not have the eugenics war.
Listen, Ensign, I've just busted you down a little bit. If you're going to run our museum, you need to know more facts. No, you actually, like, quite a few of them go in the beginning. So
yeah, I pretty much rattled it off. I gave the story.
Fantastic job. So guys, we appreciate you guys watching and doing this. Again, these are supposed to be smaller shows where we really get into it. First Contact Day. we just wanted to celebrate it. It's brand new what we're doing here with these shows, and we had a good time with it, and it's such a big day for it. For you, Casey, tell me either one of your favorite scenes in First Contact, and how do you normally celebrate this day?
Well, this day is always by watching First Contact. I don't think there's another way to celebrate it. Like you said, it's what the reason for the season, buddy. I absolutely go with one of the Data scenes when he, decides to, but at the very end when he breaks open the tube of antimatter and wipes all of the Borg out, and then lands back, and he's like, Picard's like, how long did you think about, listening to her offer? And it's like 0.01 milliseconds. I love that. I don't know. There's something about that. It's just the perfect wrap up. And it's the perfect explanation of Data. It's like, of course, it's going to pass through his brain. It passes through all of our brains. Everyone thinks about a possibility of something.
He just thinks about it way faster.
Yeah, substantially. So I love that scene. That's one of my favorites. And also, I mean, drunk stuff from Cochrane and drunk Troy is pretty great.
That is
Riker. The way Jonathan Frakes, his face lights up when he sees her playing drunk in a way that's like he's so happy. He's trying so hard to just like he's elated by it. It's wonderful. He knows he's getting laid, man. He's like, fair. Yeah.
Right on Earth at the day, on the day. Let's get it.
And then he's gonna go fly in the
with an alien. He's going to first contact her before they first contact the Vulcans.
That's true. Like, technically, first contact happened. She's Beta Z. So, like, out the gate, we're like, well, no.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine if the Vulcans had seen her and was just like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Ruined first contact day. They pack up and go home.
Yep. They're like, oh, well, clearly you already got some buddies, so we're out.
You know what, though? Actually, I do have a quick question before we leave. I don't know how this comes about. So we see the Vulcans saw the ship as it was traveling, and it's a smaller ship. It's it's
a science vessel. It's literally out trying to find wormhole anomalies out by Jupiter.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
What the hell did they not see the giant Enterprise E? Did they not see all these huge, like they weren't there, like they weren't detecting that?
So you'll notice what Star Trek loves to do is hide ships behind planets or behind moons. Because technically the only way you could prevent sensors from getting to see you is if you're in an orbit in such a way to where you're using the magnetic field of whatever planet or thing around you to mask you. So, and you have to remain in orbit directly around their sensors the whole time. And I'm sure, science vessels back then, it was pretty easy to hide from. We have some version of cloaking by Enterprise E. I'm pretty sure there's a huge version of it.
Very fair.
In the Roddenberry verse, they were pretty clear about stuff like that. So I
can't do it anymore, though.
Why is that?
Picard. They said that every ship is fitted so then that way where they are at all times.
Yep.
And anywhere they are. And I kind of like that going forward because it makes it a little bit harder to write. I always like when shows do that, and Star Trek's very good for that.
Mm-hmm.
It will cancel things out that remained easy, and I liked when they did that, especially on Enterprise.
Yeah,
when it was like they don't trust the transporter.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love that, and I love that. Well, Bones does that perfectly in TOS as well.
Yeah,
like he's just not a fan of it. He's like, you're getting ripped apart and thrown back together. Oh no.
Oh yeah, hates it. Well, guys, this has of course been Quarter Impulse. We love this show, the series, this franchise, whatever you want to call it. This epic, iconic. I'll just go franchise. I don't really have anything else. It was such a build-up, but it fell flat. And we hope you'll join us for more Quarter Impulses. Like we said, if you want to go over and watch Warp Factor Fiction, become a Patreon. We truly appreciate you. But if not, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It really help. The likes help us go a long way. The subscribes help us go a long way. We have great shows for you to check out besides just this. And we hope you're checking out our channel. We will also be having soon, later tonight, after my reviews of Super Mario Brothers, the new one, and then right after that, Air. It's going to be at 10 and 10:15. They're both non-spoiler and spoiler reviews. You can check them out anytime on YouTube. But we also have Did I Fix It? Super Mario Brothers from 1993, and I think I did because it's very hard not to do that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't much of a stretch, but yours was a lot more fun.
And this week's episode of the podcast is out, so make sure to go check that out. The Scene Snobs Podcast is everywhere. So I am, of course, Captain Mick Manhattan, joined as always, as I would say Captain, but he wants to be Commodore, so I'm going to say Commodore Casey the Madman Plot. Until next time, Casey, what do you say?
Be well all. Live long and prosper.
And just like that, we all did. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.